And in this session, we'd like to specifically address international students studying at Çanakkale 18 Mart University. We are having this seminar on behalf of Center for Academic Integrity that we established last year at our institution. And we'd like to introduce you with some fundamental values of academic integrity here, and we'd like to provide you some suggestions in terms of avoiding academic misconduct. Let me briefly introduce my course content here. Today, first, I'd like to talk about the mission of our center, what we are trying to do. And I'm going to relate the fundamental values of academic integrity with the mission of our center. And then we will refer to different types of academic misconduct, of course, including cheating and plagiarism. So plagiarism as an academic misconduct will be one of our priorities here. I know as students you have some questions in your minds regarding academic misconduct, different types of academic misconduct, and probably with different types of plagiarism incidents. So I'm going to talk about from the students' perspectives regarding rumors about academic misconduct, including plagiarism here. Of course, I'd like to give you some suggestions in order to avoid accidental plagiarism. If it's not on purpose, deliberate plagiarism, then of course there are some strategies you can follow in order to comply with the principles of academic integrity. Okay, you see the logo of our center here. This is the Center for Academic Integrity, and we are proud to, as Çanakkale 18 Mart University, we are proud to say that it is a unique center in Turkey that's promoting academic integrity. Therefore, we have a mission here, not only for our university, but a national mission in terms of promoting academic integrity. Therefore, we'll be asking for your cooperation here. As lecturers and administrators, we give priority to be attached to any fundamental values of academic integrity, and we are expecting our students to follow these principles as well. So that's why we give this presentation to you today. Okay then, what do we mean by academic integrity? Let's try to agree on the definition of academic integrity altogether, if you like. You see the definition that we already have as the European Network for Academic Integrity here, and when we refer to academic integrity, we are addressing any levels of education or any type of education-related activities that are taking place at school. So when we think about our university here, it means we are not merely focusing on learning and teaching experience here, but we also think about research activities as well. All stakeholders should be components of academic integrity. As teachers, we consider ourselves as one of the stakeholders here. However, on the other hand, as students, you are our stakeholders as well. And in terms of cultivating a culture of academic integrity at an institutional level, it is a must for us to collaborate with you. You see the 6 fundamental values of academic integrity here. Indeed, these 6 fundamental values are coming from International Center for Academic Integrity. These are the values identified by this center. Let's see what these values are. As you see, honesty is the first one, courage, responsibility, respect, and fairness and trust. Indeed, in our logo, we try to attach all these 6 fundamental values in our logo. As you see, we have a building here reflecting Turkish architecture, and the roof of our building is representing honesty, because we consider honesty as the most important value among these 6 values. In addition to honesty, we also give priority to courage. So courage, among the others, will be our second priority. And we are reflecting courage here with the stairs that we have in our logo. So courage will be the fundamental value that is taking you to further levels. In terms of fulfilling the other values, what are the responsibility, respect, fairness, and trust that we have in these columns? You need to have courage at the first step. Okay, so these 6 fundamental values should give you some idea about the basic principles of academic integrity. Now you might have such a question in your mind. Okay, I'd like to comply with the principles of academic integrity, but is there any possibility for me to violate academic integrity? Yes, this could be possible, and accidentally indeed you might be doing this. However, most of the time these violations are deliberate. So indeed we'd like to show you the strategies if they are not deliberate. We'd like to show you the strategies how to avoid accidental academic misconduct in a way. Okay, I listed 4 different types of academic misconduct here, including plagiarism, contract cheating, collusion, and cheating on a test. So at the first one, at the first step, you see plagiarism. I'm sure you are all familiar with plagiarism, what we mean by plagiarism. If you borrow an idea from someone else, or if you borrow an expression from any other text that you are writing your report, it means that you need to acknowledge the original source. If you don't do this, if you show it to your readers that it is a sentence that you have written yourself, or the idea belongs to yourself, you are the original idea holder, then it means that this is idea plagiarism, or it is sentence plagiarism, deliberate plagiarism. Therefore, in any academic activity, we need to avoid plagiarism. And at the university, your lecturers will have expectation from you to submit reports, to submit academic papers. Writing an academic paper means that you are blending the other sources in your report. When you blend the other sources in your report, it means that you need to give the credit to the original idea holders. Otherwise, you will be accused of plagiarism. And if you are accused of plagiarism, it means that there will be some sanctions for you. Okay then, the second one, contract cheating. Contract cheating is a relatively new phenomenon for many of us, but indeed it refers to a contract by a company. We call such companies as essay mills. Suppose, for example, your lecturer delivers a writing assignment. Rather than writing your own writing assignment, what do? You go in Google and search for an essay mill and ask someone that you find from the essay mill to write your assignment for you. And then you pay them. This is what we call as contract cheating. Of course, compared to plagiarism, contract cheating should be considered at an upper level in terms of misconduct compared to plagiarism, and should be avoided at all instances. If collision happens, this time, rather than buying an assignment from an essay mill, this time we are referring to collaboration, which is going beyond collaboration. Okay, sometimes your teachers will ask you to collaborate with your peers, and you will be collaborating with your peers. However, there will be some other tasks that you will need to do individually. And if you do not perform your tasks individually, and if you ask for contribution from your peers, which you shouldn't, then it means that you will be accused of collusion. Therefore, before you ask for any contribution from any of your peers, please contact your lecturers and ask for confirmation. Hey teacher, I have written my report. It is ready. However, before I submit it, I'd like one of my friends to proofread it. Is this acceptable? For example, before taking it for granted, please talk to your teachers and ask for their advice. And the last one, of course, cheating on an exam, which should not happen whatever the costs are, so must be avoided. What happens, for example, if you violate any of them? It means that in the case of detection of plagiarism, in the case of detection of contract cheating, collision, or cheating, we have regulations. I strongly recommend you to check the regulations of Çanakkale 18 Mart University and to check our policy regarding academic integrity to see what sanctions are available for you. Here you see we have a clear line in between collaboration and collision. Of course, sometimes teamwork is essential and we will be encouraging our students for teamwork. However, for the tasks, for the individual tasks, if you are doing this, then this will move beyond the borders of collision, move beyond the borders of collaboration to collision. Please pay extra attention to this. What happens if we do not pay attention to academic misconduct at university? Suppose, for example, you are cheating in your exams, or you simply copy from the internet and then paste it in your assignment without acknowledging the original sources carefully, and then submit your assignments to your lecturers. What happens? It means that you are cheating, and if lecturers, we do not pay attention to this, and if we do nothing to prevent this, it means that you will receive your certificates, you will receive your diplomas without having the qualifications that you need to hold. Therefore, when you become doctors, when you become engineers, when you become teachers, you will be performing your jobs improperly because you won't be able to have the qualifications that you had to be practicing at while pursuing your degrees at the university. And checking it from the point of society, okay, cheating will become a worse problem. What is this? It will become deception at the further level. We will go one step further, and deception will become fraud. And then fraud will result in corruption in the society, and it will be very difficult for any society to go back from the corruption level. Therefore, by paying attention to the fundamental values of academic integrity, we try to indulge, we try to cultivate academic integrity culture not only at our university, but we are also checking for possible contribution to the society. So what happens in the society, this is important for us as well. Because we are living in this society. Okay, if you are new in Çanakkale, this is the bridge, hopefully connecting the two continents, and we'll be using it in a few months, hopefully. Suppose, for example, one of the engineers who designed the bridge, who planned the bridge, cheated at the university. Would you still use this bridge? Drive your car there? So that should be the question that we need to ask to ourselves. You will have your certificates, you will have your degrees, diplomas, when you finalize your period here, and then you need to ask the question, okay, I have the diploma, but what about my capability right now? Am I capable of doing this job properly? So this should be the question, because we all have responsibilities towards the societies that we are living. Otherwise, we might be doing something very bad for our societies. As one of the academic misconduct types, what about plagiarism? Okay, we said that if you borrow any ideas, if you borrow any expressions from other sources, and if you do not cite them properly, then you will be accused of plagiarism. Here you see the technical definition of plagiarism that's coming from European Network for Academic Integrity. And here we are referring to, as you see, any work or any idea. So it means that plagiarism is not restricted with sentences level. It goes beyond sentence level to idea level or to anything else. Suppose, for example, you are dealing with arts and you got ideas from the other artists in terms of producing your products. So what do we mean here? We are referring to any work. When you are creating your own products, it means that if you are benefiting from the others, it means that you need to acknowledge the original idea holders. This is important. In terms of accidental plagiarism, okay, there are some steps, precautions that you can take and strategies that you can follow. Remember, especially these 4 different types of academic misconduct, and I'm giving priority here to differentiating deliberate plagiarism from accidental plagiarism, because if you are deliberately plagiarizing, then it means that it is very difficult for us to ask you to stop it, because it means that you are not an appropriate candidate to study at university. I'm sure you have some rumors among yourself relating to plagiarism, and as a network we think about these rumors, and we provided some answers to your questions, to your possible questions. We have an activity here regarding the other day in the cafeteria, and you see the link here. I strongly recommend you after this session to visit the link and then read the scenarios that we provide there. I'll be sharing this presentation with you after this session. So the presentation will be available both as PPT, and also ÇOMÜ TV is recording this session for your future reference, so it will be available as video as well after this session. Okay then, in the case of accidental plagiarism, what might be the precautions that we can take? If you are new in academic writing, my suggestion to you, after writing your assignment, please for each sentence ask this question to yourself. What is this question? Did I use any idea or expression in this sentence that's coming from any other source? Okay, there is an idea. Now, check whether the idea is common knowledge. What do I mean by common knowledge? Suppose, for example, you are writing a report and you write there, okay, water boils at 100 Celsius degree. Do you need any citation there? No. We don't need any citation for such a sentence, because we all know that water boils at 100 Celsius degree. Or there might be something specific to your field. Suppose, for example, I'm coming from English language teaching department, and when we think about foreign language teaching, we give priority to 4 main language skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay, then if one of my students writing such a sentence, for example, in order to become a proficient language user, one needs to practice reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Do we need a citation here? No, because it's common knowledge. It is common to anyone studying in this field. Therefore, please discriminate common knowledge from the other types of proper knowledge. or some specific knowledge, new knowledge that is in the field. And for any type of this idea or expression, you will need to acknowledge the original sources. How do we do this? How do we acknowledge the original sources? Indeed, we are benefiting from different writing styles, and the writing style that you will be using will be identified by your department. Some departments, for example, will prefer to follow parenthetical citation styles such as American Psychological Association, shortly known as APA. Or some others will follow numerical citation styles such as shortly known as MLA, Modern Language style. So anyway, in our citations, what do we try to do? For in-text citations, we try to inform our readers that the expression or the sentence is coming from someone else. And we try to provide basic information that would help our readers find related necessary information about the source. And we provide full detailed information about the source in our references. How does a text matching software work? Probably before we answer this question, we may need to think about what do we mean by text matching software. At the university, when you are asked to submit a report, probably your lecturers will ask you to submit this report by using Turnitin. Turnitin is a text matching software. Turnitin is trying to identify similarities between your report and the other existing sources by benefiting from some other sources. Now, here for example, you see this is your report that you are submitting to Turnitin. It means that Turnitin will be checking your report against its database. And there are 4 different repositories in Turnitin's database. The first one will be related to internet sources. The second one will be related to academic sources such as periodicals. The third one will be related to student assignments. These student assignments are coming from any university all over the world. And the last one, institutional repository. It means that these are the assignments submitted to Turnitin at our own institution. And Turnitin will reveal a similarity report for your assignment. It means that it will show you the similarities in your assignment with the other sources. What do you need to do? You need to check whether these similarities are due to plagiarism or not. Please mind the difference here. Turnitin prepares a similarity report for you, not a plagiarism report. It is completely different from each other. We cannot use plagiarism and similarity in an interchangeable manner. Please mind the difference here. For any similarity, you need to check very carefully by yourself in order to understand whether you properly acknowledge the related source so that you avoid plagiarism there. And also I'd like to call your attention to another issue here. Turnitin will be revealing some ratios regarding the similarities in your paper, and of course if the ratio is high, then there might be more concerns, increased concerns regarding plagiarism in your paper. However, 0% similarity does not necessarily mean that everything is perfect in your paper. I'd like to clarify this with reference to some examples in the following slide. But before we move forward, please pay attention to one issue here. When you submit your assignment, Turnitin will be preparing a similarity report and will be providing an overall similarity ratio for your paper. Depending on the similarity ratio, Turnitin will also highlight it, tag it with some colors. Suppose, for example, there is 15% similarity in your paper. It means that Turnitin will flag it with green color. Do not take it granted that it is green, so it is safe. Numbers do not mean anything on their own. So what we need to do, I'm repeating it, what we need to do is checking the similarities very carefully here. So when you receive your similarity report, there will be an overall index indicating the total amount of similarity in your paper. However, it's not our priority to focus on here. Instead, we try to understand what happens here. We try to check each match here, each highlighted expression, whether it is due to plagiarism or not. Suppose, for example, you submitted your assignment and you realize that the overall similarity index is 99%. Probably there is something wrong here. What might be wrong? Okay, you submitted an assignment, suppose, for example, that you had earlier submitted for another course. It means that you are self-plagiarizing. Or, the other option, what is this? You borrowed one of your friend's assignment and then you are submitting your friend's assignment that was submitted earlier. In either option, it is not allowed. Either you are submitting your own assignment or your friend's assignment, we will be considering it as an academic misconduct and must be avoided at all instances. Here, please pay attention to the second sample here and to the expression, to the highlighted expression that you see here. As a lecturer, when I see such an expression, what do I assume? Okay, one of my students here borrowed an expression from another source. This must be a quotation. This must be a direct quotation. Now I am questioning whether my student followed academic writing rules regarding direct quotations. What is this? Since there is a quoted expression, it must be placed within quotation marks. Okay, I see where the quotation starts, the first quotation mark. I see the other quotation mark. So it is proper way of citing a quotation. In addition to putting this expression in between quotation marks, the student also provided in-text citation information. So, is anything wrong here? No, it is quite acceptable. And in your papers, there will be such highlighted expressions. Please do not consider them as plagiarism, because this is not plagiarism. This is just a match within your paper and the others. What about that one? This time we have another sample here, and the match overview indicates that similarity ratio is 0%. Now, as a teacher, I am questioning the reasons for this. Okay, one of the reasons might be, okay, this is such a specific topic that in Turnitin's database, there are no sources related to supporting the arguments that student is discussing there. No database, there is no source available in Turnitin's database. This might be one option. Of course, a very rare option. Secondly, there might be something more complicated in this paper, such as, for example, sometimes students take screenshots. Rather than typing the essays, they type the essays on word processors and then take screenshots and then paste these screenshots as GPX to the text, so that they try to bypass the algorithms of text matching software. However, please note, it doesn't work. And because the similarity index here, when your teachers click the I button here, they will be retrieving additional information involved in your paper. So again, this will be considered another type of academic misconduct. Or sometimes students try to use some white characters, for example, in between words. so that they try to bypass the algorithms again. However, please note, such bypass trials, they do not work. And if you are trying these bypass issues, then it means that your violation becomes to a much worse degree. That should be avoided at all instances again. Another thing that you need to pay attention is your references. When it comes to your reference list, of course, there will be matches, because you are citing the other sources. The other people also are citing the sources that you use. It means that the sources that you use and that you are reporting in your bibliography or references will be matched with the other reference list. However, still I would consider such a reference list as problematic compared to the next one. What is the difference? As you see, in this reference list, the matching are coming with different colors, indicating that the matches are coming from different sources, which is quite normal. However, if the matches are coming from the same source, are highlighted with the same color, it means that there is a trick. Probably the student copied the sources from another source and then outlined the paper accordingly by taking another paper as a model, which cannot be acceptable. So please be careful about interpreting the similarities in your references. Okay, what are my concluding remarks here? At the university, we are trying to cultivate a culture of academic integrity, and this is only possible with the contribution, with the collaboration of all of us, all stakeholders, including administrators, lecturers, students, and the other staff as well. So we will be asking for your contribution in terms of cultivating this culture of academic integrity. And whatever the cases are, please be honest and act with integrity. If you have any questions, I'd like to answer your questions, and before I stop, I'd like to remind you some important links related to academic integrity, and remind you again that the presentation will be available at our center's webpage. Thank you for your attendance, and I'm ready to answer your questions if you have any.